Hi, my name is Kate and welcome to my FlossTube. I'm also known as Two Little Kits. This is my 28th FlossTube and it's the start of year 2. It's also stinking hot right now, at least for Washington state standards, and I guess I'm now used to the colder weather, so it's hot. So let's get started. So I'm going to start off with, I guess it's considered haul, in that I got a big thing, a big deal of a thing, which is an iPad. It is a refurbished, as you can see, what the what day I'm recording this on and what time. This is a refurbished Generation 5 iPad Air, and it was marked down a lot. I mentioned this on my Instagram that I've been keeping an eye on prices for the current generation but refurbished iPad versions. I've wanted to use Procreate for so many years, at least 5 years, I'd say. I just haven't had an Apple product in a long time. And yeah, this was, I think, like $200 off the recommended retail price, and I snatched it up real quick. I got a Gen 2 pencil, which has a little like cover on it. Because I've wanted an iPad, I've like looked into all the things that you should get to make it fun and nicer to use. So apparently these little things will help it to like glide properly. I also got a screen protector which feels like paper, and I got a protector too, but I think the main reason that this was so much cheaper is because it's got this massive scratch here, which, like, I don't care, especially when it's in this, you don't see it, but some people are a bit thingy about products, but like this doesn't affect how to use it at all, so it's cool with me. That's the only negative that I've seen, like visually, and so far it's worked as I would expect a brand new iPad to work. So this is exciting. I haven't had a chance, and I'll explain why later, that to actually really like dig in and get to know it very well, but I'm like super excited. Super excited. So that is a thing that I got. The other things that I got regarding haul, because I'm on that topic, is a couple of books. I got this one, which is called How to Draw Inky Wonderlands, and I thought this would be a really good gateway for myself in designing embroidery stuff, basically, and just like, it's fun to sketch. It's fun, and it's like broken down into how to do a lot of bits and pieces, basically, and it's also kind of a coloring book. So I got that. I think I got it at Target. I can't actually remember, but yeah, I got that, and I haven't dug into that just yet. I've just looked at it. The other one, the other book that I got was a pre-order that I did on Amazon months ago, and the book was finally released. I actually got it, I'm pretty sure the day my last FlossTube was released, but it's Cross Stitch for the Heart. It's from Emma Congdon. I'm so sorry. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced your surname last time as well. I really like her designs. I really like the way that she does her books as well. Like, just the patterns are big and colorful. Hopefully you can see that. And just, yeah, I want to support a fellow artist. So yeah, this was released and I got it this past fortnight. So I am likely gonna make something soon. I'd probably start now, but you'll see in a bit why I really shouldn't. And I've spoken, ooh, wobble wobble. I've spoken about the other books that I've gotten, which they're up on a shelf that's like just there, and they're Cross Stitch for the Earth and Cross Stitch for the Soul, and I need to figure out which one I want to do first, basically. And I'm thinking about doing them with the intent to, like, I don't know, like set them up in my girls' bedrooms or something, like make one and then a second one and give it to them. I could do it for Christmas maybe. But yeah, so I got that. The other things that I got this past fortnight was just a couple of bits and pieces from IKEA, which you can see here. I got these mesh things, and there's another one down here which I'll move and you'll be able to see it. So there's a big one of that as well. I've rearranged my pegboards, and I'm liking how it looks now, like even better. I got some extra big hooks for here as well, and I got some more what I'm using as hoop hooks, but I haven't opened them up yet. They're just in case. But other than that, I think that's everything I've gotten, which is pretty cool. Moving on to what should we move on to? We'll move on to works in progress. I'll leave the IRL stuff for the end, like I usually do. So there's no finished pieces this fortnight. I was certain I was going to get something done before this FlossTube, but I kind of got distracted. So the piece that I thought I was going to finish was my pink version of this pattern of mine, which is called Store Bought. All I've got left to do on this piece is the wording and sign it, and then finishing it, so like washing, pressing, framing in a hoop. But so it's super close, and I should vow to the internet that this will be done by next FlossTube, so that I actually have a finished piece to share, because it's been a while. So that's that piece there. The next one, what should we move on to next? Let's do the Stitch People stuff. So I mentioned that I may not be able to share this one again from last FlossTube, but I feel like I can. I haven't done that much extra to it, but this is a Stitch People piece that I have plans for. I've done, I think, all of the back stitching except a tiny bit on the people. I keep forgetting to grab the extra hair color that I need to do cross stitching for the dad. Otherwise the cross stitching's all done, it's just all back stitching and then hair and stuff. And I will still probably do some kind of decoration on it. I'm just not sure. Something little probably, so I don't want it to overpower the whole thing. But yeah, that's how that one's coming along. So that's that one. The other Stitch People piece that I've been working on is this one, and as you may notice, there is another cat now. So my customer reached out to me and said, hey, I'm probably gonna need you to make me another piece because we got a new cat. So I was like, I'll just add it to this one. I haven't unpicked any of the people or the other cat. She doesn't mind that it's sort of lopsided. I was suggesting that she add some text here, but she prefers it like this. So I did the tails for the cats, like that was the last thing I was working on, and I've done back stitching for this one, but I did a whipped stitch for this tail, and so I've sort of been sitting on that for a day and a half ish because I'm not sure if I like the whip stitch. But yeah, this one is coming along nicely. I've been doing some back stitching on it as well, and I need to try and find a nicer color to do the shading of the guy's arms. This one's kind of almost done, which is pretty exciting. I'll need to do hair and I'll need to do cat details, and that's kind of it because the rest of it's done. So maybe I'll get this one done before next FlossTube. That'd be exciting. Next work in progress. I did a little tiny bit on this one, so I'm gonna share it. It's not a lot, but hang on. This hoop is so bad. I know every time I share this piece, and it's so dirty too, actually. I'm definitely gonna have to figure out a good way to wash the fabric properly. Anyway, I know that every time I share this piece, I'm like, tug, tug, tug. So, this is Pretty Little LA. This piece is for me, if you don't already know, and all I've done is just like a bit more of this light green. As you can see, this is where I'm working in right now. I have been working on other bits and pieces mostly. I grabbed this one when I took my girls to martial arts the other day because it was the only one within arm's reach before I ran out the door, basically. So that's why there's not a lot been done to it, and not a lot been done to it, but a little bit has been done to it, if that makes sense. So yeah, that one's coming along, and yeah, this one has no rush because it's for me. So that is that one. The next work in progress, because there is like so many of them, is my other Satsuma Street piece, which is the animal house. I'm just tucking fabric away. So this one, before I finish, has completely been released. There's no more parts to the pattern for this one. The part 6, which was the last part, was released just before my previous FlossTube. So this is all I'm up to. This is still part 3 and part 4. I'm just not in a rush now that there's no more new bits and pieces to get released for it, but it'll get done. I was attempting to try and catch up a little bit, but now there's no catching up. But I have done a lot to this. I've got all the animals on the second floor established now, and I know I didn't do that before last FlossTube. I had to do some unpicking because this flamingo's beak actually, so you can't really tell. Well, you can probably tell this one. So this one's beak, there's a gap underneath between the wall and the beak itself. So there's white and then brown for the beak. I haven't gotten to the brown yet. Apparently there's someone at my front door. Anyway, I'm waiting for a package to come. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the flamingo's beak, that's right. So I basically, the darker? Yeah, the darker red, reddy orange, that's just here. I should have left 2 spaces underneath the beak, and I didn't. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of unpicking. I did post about the fact that I stitched over a half stitch right in here. I posted about that on Instagram. So you can probably tell that it came out looking like nothing, which was what I hoped and what I expected, and I've done that kind of thing before. So anyway, that's that one, and that one is also not a rush anymore. Yeah, that one, I have 2 more works in progress. I'm gonna save the exciting one for last. The next one is another stitch along that I'm doing. It's called The Haunted Library. It's by, oh, I can't remember. I'll have to look it up online. The copyright on the pattern is definitely not the same as the shop that I bought it from. I'm wondering if maybe the shop name is just different to like the company name, if that makes sense. Lola Crow cross stitch. That's a bit of a tongue twister. It is quite big. It sits on 14 count, which is what I'm doing it on. I wanted to do it on 18 count, but I didn't want to use the brown that I showed you guys last FlossTube, and it's pretty big. So on 14 count, it's going to be 12.4 inches by 11.4 inches, which is roughly 30 inches squared. So it's pretty big. You can't see the pattern itself, like all the little squares, but this is the first part of it. We have 5 weeks to do this before she starts releasing each part, which is more of a stitch along format that I know of, which is cool. Usually it's like a border and you fill in the middle, but this is like the staircase, and then you fill, we're going to be filling in up here and then in here, and you can see there's like cutouts of people and things that are going to get put in. And there's this really cute little cat down here, which you can actually see on our Instagram, so if you go and check that out rather than me showing it to you properly. But this is where I'm at. So this one only got released 2 days ago, and I had troubles getting the actual PDF. I think my email just completely like flagged it as spam and didn't even send it to my spam folder, so I had to reach out and give her my personal email address instead. So I got it yesterday and I started this little bit. But this is also using the two Q-snap like extenders that I have, because this would normally be the same size as this one, but as you can see it's bigger, but it's the same width. So that's exciting. I also gridded it, which takes ages. Absolutely worth it in my opinion. So that one will be fun. There's a lot of dark colors and there's a lot of black. She's got the length, the estimated length of skein colors. She does have it suggested as 2 strands, but when I'm doing 14 count, I do 3. So her skein amounts for 2 strands for the black is 2.1. So I'm thinking that soon I'll be going to the craft store and just buying a skein of all, well, this is not all the colors, this is just what is in the prologue bit, which is this bit. There's quite a number of colors, so I'll be getting a list of all of the colors and I'll just buy a new skein for it all. I think that'll be easier, because then I can keep all the colors together and not worry about my other works in progress. So that's that one, and it supposedly ends just before Halloween, which makes sense, but that's pretty cool. The last work in progress is a not cross stitch. It's embroidery. I posted again on Instagram about the fact that I had sudden inspiration and motivation to sketch out a new embroidery pattern. And so I did that and grabbed some colors. So these are the colors that I have. Colors. Whoop. There's another color too, actually, because I ran out. It's got that one too, because I ran out of the bobbin of it. I didn't have much left. But anyway, so I grabbed all the colors and I got started basically. So this is where it looks at the moment. It's just so much faster. I'm always so surprised at how much faster embroidery is to cross stitch, and I shouldn't be surprised because it's so obvious why. But yeah, that's how that one's going, and this one doesn't have a name yet. This one is also going to be my first trial of a at your pace stitch along, which will lend well to people joining when they feel like. This is also how a lot of embroidery pattern designers release their patterns. So I have done a bit of recording while I've been stitching to show each of the stitches, because currently there's 4 different stitches used here. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. All my colors that I wrote down up here, they're not the ones I'm using anymore. I wrote down all those colors at night, and then I was like, no. That is all the works in progress that I have. Ta-da! Oh, no, I have another work in progress. Oh my gosh, I started it yesterday. That's kind of, well, actually, kind of started it today, honestly. But that's kind of why it's got forgotten a bit. So you're gonna have a first preview of my next font. Next font! My next font is going to be called Kathy, because I'm up to the letter K and I'm still trying to go with the old lady sounding names. So I finished the uppercase, I made up the pangram and printed it out, and I started stitching it today. So this is the start of the font pangram, which is exciting. Oh my gosh, because it's been more than 1.5 years since my last font. I have another 2 that are currently in progress of being designed. One of them, the lowercase, is done. The uppercase I'm really struggling on, and the other one I'm still fleshing out the lowercase. This one is cross stitch only. The one that is more thoroughly designed, so the first work in progress that has all the lowercase, that one's a backstitch only one, and the other work in progress one I have is another cross stitch only one. So I did do a poll on my Instagram a while ago about people's preference, and it was pretty close, but there was definitely a little bit more of a preference for backstitch only. So I'm definitely going to think of options going forward for more backstitch fonts. And I have actually noticed that with sales of my fonts, that backstitch ones do get a little bit more love than the cross stitch ones. So yeah, but this one is based on the lettering of one of my patterns, which is called, oh my gosh, Perfectly Imperfect. And when I designed that, I was like, I gotta make this one into a font. So yeah, it's a little different from what you see on the pattern, but that's just kind of because I designed the pattern first and then I pulled the letters out from that to then create the font. So it did a lot of tweaking and editing to make the letters flow nicely and be a bit more flexible, because people are making their own words, whereas when I do something like a pattern, I can change the letters to match the letter coming before and after a certain, hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, I am really hoping I can get that done for the next Monday. So that's in between my two floss tubes. That's my goal. I'm going to keep working on it, and if it's ready before then, I will likely release it before that Monday. So yay! Now that's all the works in progress that I have. Moving on to just stuff that's been happening and IRL things. So when I say stuff that's been happening, I mean things related to Two Little Kits. I can't remember if I shared it actually. So in case I didn't share, my youngest and I made Shrinky Dinks a while ago, and I decided to trace my logo, and I made this little friend, which is cool. It has a little hole so that it can hang. Yay. It was then suggested to me that I make some Needleminders. I'm like, why didn't I think of that? So I did 2 more, and I have now made these 2, and I painted the backs, and the backs look terrible, but I basically just need to give it another coat, and I need to figure out what kind of sealant I can use, because the ink on the front it gets kind of tacky while it's been really hot. I feel sometimes it's really tacky, and I don't want any of the white paint to rub off on my work. So yeah, I'm making Needleminders. I did this one first, and when I drew it out and I looked at it, I'm like, that's huge. I don't know if that's going to be too big as a Needleminder. So then I made the little tiny one. So I'm going to have 2 because I don't mind the size of either of them. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm going to look at my notes. I know one thing that I want to talk about, but I'm just going to make sure that there's nothing else related to that. Oh yeah, I released a new pattern. It's called Pro-Choice, and yes, I am pro-choice. I have been trying to figure out a way that I can do something about the situation that's happening in the US that isn't donating my time or money. So like with the Ukraine situation, it felt like the one thing that I could do that stood out from everything else was to make a pattern. And so my awesome test stitcher, Jessica, stitched up this piece, and I'll run a video that she took of the finished piece itself. But you can get this on my website. It's currently the latest shop product on my site, and I think it's really cute, and I really like the colors. It did take a bit of iteration to get the colors looking nice, because initially the colors were a bit bleh. So Jessica was very nice and stitched it twice for me, so thank you. What else? The Monday straight after my last floss tube, I had my first martial arts belt test. I previously had done stripe tests, which is like a demonstration that you know what you're doing and what you're up to, and I passed those. I just didn't talk about it on my floss tube because I forgot. But I now have a yellow belt, so yay! So that's exciting. And I am nervous about martial arts at the moment. I guess it's a good segue. I had an MRI done on my foot, well, my toe specifically, recently, and pretty much since I booked the MRI, so it's been like 3 weeks-ish, my foot has not been in a good way, and every class at martial arts, I'm feeling it, and it's just making me nervous because I really enjoy martial arts and I'm not able to do it to the extent that I want to, just because it restricts me being able to practice kicks and stuff with my left leg, which, you know, as a beginner, that's not the worst thing. I'll be able to catch up when I progress higher. It's just disheartening a bit. But with this MRI, I'm getting the results this coming Tuesday. I'm assuming I'm gonna have to get surgery, which really sucks. Hopefully that'll just make things eventually better. So that's that progress. Yeah, it clicks a lot, my toe. It's like, it's all arthritic and still swollen, and it's just not in a good way. And it's been almost 9 months now. What else has been happening? My girls and I, because my husband went to California for just over a week this past week. So my girls and I went to IKEA last weekend. We've been saving money, and I've been doing lots and lots of planning and research and measuring and everything, because we are improving their bedrooms, because right now they're not comfortable to be in, for not only me as an adult, but for them in general. So we went to IKEA and we bought a bunch of stuff, and then I had to go online and buy a bunch more stuff because they wouldn't place an order for online things in store, which, okay. But all that stuff arrived yesterday, the online things. So downstairs is full of boxes because we have to drag it all upstairs before we can make it. And right now my husband's dealing with back issues. He went and got one of those, not nice massages, but the deep tissue ones. So he's very sore and can't help me take everything upstairs and start building, because it's 2 people job. The beds that we got, because we're replacing their bed frames, beds that we got are serious. I'm planning on taking pictures, if not videos, of like the progress of their room changes. Why not? Everything is content. Isn't that the trending audio lately? But anyway, so we did that, and that was like a whole day, and I was exhausted afterwards, and that's why I got those things for me. I grabbed a couple of tiny bits for me because we were already there, but majority of what we bought was for their rooms to improve it. So that's exciting. The inner child in me is like super envious. And the last thing that I want to talk about, hopefully is the last thing, and I feel like it's saving the best for last, is that this coming Friday, my mum and her husband are coming to visit. Yay! So I've been running through all the things that they might need. Like, I've just bought some new pillows because we didn't have any nice spare pillows. I don't know how that happened, but so I bought some new pillows, just things like that. I also got a white noise machine because they're going to be staying in this room. This is like the catch-all room. It's my office, it's the playroom, it's a workstation for the kids, and there's a Murphy bed that can come down from the wall. And it's a living room too, because it's got a TV and everything. So it's a catch-all room, but it is loud. As you can tell, every FlossTube you can hear the noise in the background. I tried to cancel it out last fortnight and it just did not go well. But basically the heating and cooling system that we have throughout the house is like right behind this wall, which is why it's so loud. But I have slept in this room quite a number of times, either because my husband was quarantining because he got exposed to COVID. He didn't have COVID, just to be clear. And I've been in here because he's had like serious issues with his sleep. And I'm a twitcher and a talker in my sleep, and he often gets woken up by me. And like recently I was just like, look, I don't have any trouble sleeping, thankfully. So I'm just gonna sleep in here and you catch up on sleep. So that happened. But I'm very aware of how noisy this room is at night. So that's the whole story of that. I got a white noise machine. So hopefully that'll get useful. And I also bought some little earplugs for them, and yeah, so I'm excited. I haven't seen my mum in person since October 2019. I haven't seen her husband since March 2019, thanks COVID, basically. We were planning on flying over to Australia in June 2020. Obviously that didn't happen. And yeah, right now we cannot leave the country because of the visa situation that we're in. So this is cheaper as well because it's only flying 2 people, not 4 people. But yeah, I'm excited. And my kids are ecstatic. And I think my husband is also excited because there will be more adults around to answer the incessant questions and requests by my children. Plus, while they're here, it's our 20th anniversary. So, Mum, I know you watch this. Just a heads up, we're gonna want a night away. Anyway, I think that's everything. This is a long FlossTube, but not anywhere near as long as the last one, thankfully. I will leave it there before I think of something else. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the font that I'm doing. Let me know what you think of this piece. I'm doing all the boring stuff first because it makes sense. Everything that is exciting to do will layer on top of the leaves and the branches and all of that. But I am excited about this piece. This is the kind of patterns that I want to do. So if you like this, please tell me, because that will encourage me to do more brainstorming and more sketching and more brain dumping, I guess. So I'm excited about that. Hopefully you are too. Let me know if you've got any questions, if there's anything that you think would be cool for me to work on as a pattern. I do have patterns in the works that I don't generally share my digital stuff that's in the works, and maybe I'll do that next week. Let me know if you'd like to see works in progress of digital stuff that I have that I'm willing to share. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.